She always believed her son was a sweet, innocent boy, quiet, obedient and full of wonder. But that illusion shattered the night he pounced on her in bed. At first she thought it was just a child's playful roughhousing. But when she looked into his eyes, something was wrong. Gone was the familiar innocence, replaced by something dark, unreadable. His gaze wandered in ways that made her uncomfortable, and his breathing was unnaturally heavy, deliberate. Terrified, she shoved him off instinctively. "What are you doing?" But in a blink, the strange look vanished. He returned to being the confused, quiet boy she knew. She tried to convince herself she was imagining things, that the stress of remarriage and a new life was simply getting to her. That night, however, sleep didn't come easy. Just as she began to drift off, she felt movement beside her. Her son had crept into her bed again, hands gently caressing her. This time, it wasn't playful or innocent, it was calculated. Her stomach turned. She pushed him away again, more firmly now. Was she losing her mind? But the horrors had only just begun. The next evening, their house was filled with laughter. Friends gathered for a celebration, her new husband hosting proudly. She stayed close to him, grateful for his presence. But then she noticed her son in the corner. He was staring at her. No glowering. His gaze pierced through her like knives. There was hate in his eyes. Hate so raw it chilled her to the bone. Later, he blocked her path in the hallway. His voice low, serious, angry. "He will die." Her heart dropped. "What did you say?" But before she could question him, he ran off upstairs, slamming the attic door behind him. She was shaking. That wasn't the voice of a child, it was a warning. No, it was a threat. The next morning, while her husband was at work, she decided it was time to talk, really talk. But as she stood near the piano, thinking of what to say, she cut her hand. A razor blade had been hidden beneath one of the piano keys. What kind of sick joke was this? Then she remembered his words, "He will die." Was this his idea of a message? A punishment? Her body trembled with both pain and fear. But before she could confront him, she heard a cry from the basement. It was her son. She raced down to find him unconscious, collapsed on the floor, cold to the touch. His skin was clammy, his breath shallow. Panicked, she carried him upstairs and laid him on the bed. Maybe it was a fever? A sudden illness? She rushed to grab medicine. But when she opened his drawer, she froze. Inside was her missing underwear. No. This couldn't be happening. Her stomach churned. Still, her son needed help. She returned with a thermometer, only to find him growling, literally growling, like a wild animal. Muttering nonsense, sweating, trembling. She leaned in closer to hear what he was saying. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open. "What are you doing?" he screamed, flailing. "Let go. Macron, come here. Help me." Macron? What did that even mean? She stepped back, dizzy with confusion. What was happening to her child? Downstairs, she found a shattered family photo, hers and her husband's wedding picture, now broken into shards. That was it. She couldn't take it anymore. She called her son to come out and explain himself. He did, but instead of answering, he ran again, laughing this time, luring her into the backyard. She chased after him, and just as she stepped onto the grass, something cold gripped her ankle. She screamed. Looking down, she saw a pale, rotting hand pulling her into the ground. But then, it was gone. She blinked, and it was just grass. Nothing there. Was she hallucinating? She told everything to her husband, her voice shaking. He calmly said it was normal. Boys his age often go through rebellious phases. Then, smiling, he suggested a warm bath might help her relax. But what she didn't see was him adding drops of something into a glass of water while she was in the shower. When she came out, he handed it to her casually. She drank it without hesitation. That night, she had a nightmare. That same ghostly hand from the yard was now holding a dagger, stabbing her again and again. She woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. But then she saw it. Her nightgown was torn, just like in the dream. The nightmare was real. Now she was sure this wasn't about her son anymore. Something was haunting this house. Something dark. As if to confirm her fears, the camera shutter by the window suddenly snapped off its mount and fell to the ground by itself. She begged her husband to leave with her, to take their son and go. But he refused. "We don't have the money," he said. "Just give me time." He walked out, left her alone again. The house was quiet for a while. Too quiet. And then, she received a bouquet of roses. Touched, she thought it was from her husband. Maybe he had a change of heart? But then she opened the card. It was a love letter. A disturbing one, signed by her son. She stormed into his room and slapped him. But he denied everything. "I didn't write that. I never would." Still, the handwriting was unmistakable. She couldn't ignore it anymore. She took him to a psychologist, a trusted friend of many years. The doctor had her wait outside while he interviewed the boy. When he came back, his expression was gentle, but firm. "Your son is fine," he said. "In fact, he's emotionally intelligent and very stable. But from his drawings, I can tell he's been neglected. He's craving attention." Then the psychologist leaned in, speaking even softer. "You don't have to be scared anymore. Your ex-husband is dead. He can't hurt you. You're safe now. Let your guard down. Be a mother again." She she couldn't speak. The guilt hit her like a wave. The doctor gave her medication for anxiety and depression, hoping it would help her rest. But when she got home and tried to open the bottle, it wouldn't budge. She twisted harder and harder until she cut her hand again. She barely had time to bandage it before a crash echoed from downstairs. She rushed to find her son holding a painting, tears in his eyes. "Why, Mom, why?" She took the painting from him, and everything came flooding back. The abuse, the darkness, her ex-husband, the drugs, the torment, the demon she thought she had escaped. Now it was back. She couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a knife and, without knowing how or why, sliced through the image of the man who had haunted her, the man who had destroyed her. Memories overwhelmed her. She was drowning. But the worst revelation was yet to come. That evening, her husband returned. She confronted him, demanding answers. He tried to deflect, but when she pressed harder, he finally cracked. "The truth," he said. "Your ex is buried behind that wall." She stared, mouth open, unable to breathe. "But I didn't kill him," her husband insisted. "I thought I did, but it was the drugs, the visions. It wasn't real." He hesitated. "But I did push him. I pushed him into the sea, buried him here, so we could start over." She staggered backward. Her knees buckled. All this time, the real monster had been standing beside her. "I did it for you," he whispered. "Everything was for you." But she wasn't listening anymore. She couldn't hear anything over the screaming in her head. Without a word, she reached for the nearby shovel and ended it. The police would never know. She placed his body behind the same wall. Then, in eerie silence, she walked back inside and took a knife to her own throat. The screen fades to black, but there's one last scene. Her son, sitting alone at a table, surrounded by a feast. He looks at the empty chair beside him and says cheerfully, "What do you want to play next?" The swing outside creaks. Nobody's there. But he smiles. He understands. He walks outside and begins pushing the swing for the ghost that never left.